Hi guys, Katie Ferraro, registered dietitian and mom of 7 here, sharing 5 surprising reasons parents and caregivers should not be scared to start baby-led weaning. Okay, let's just be real that entering a new phase of your baby's life can be rocky. I mean, you just got your baby's sleep schedule sorted out or your bottle routine down. And then as soon as you have a good schedule going with your baby, it feels like it's time to change gears. So I know some of you guys might be dreading your baby's transition to solid foods, but I want to put your mind at ease with this list of reasons not to be freaking. Okay, the last one's really good for those of you who maybe don't like cooking or if you don't think you can do this baby-led weaning thing yet. All right, let's get started. Right off the bat, tackling the elephant in the room with baby-led weaning, choking. Okay, your baby is not going to choke on food. Rather, I should say, babies who are 6 months of age and demonstrating the other reliable signs of readiness to eat will not choke if you offer safe foods. Now, if you start before 6 months or 6 months adjusted age for babies who are born prematurely, then yeah, your baby might not be safe and the choking risk goes up. So this is baby Alma and she's 6 months plus 2 weeks and she just started sitting on her own. Being able to sit relatively unassisted is your baby demonstrating she has the core strength to facilitate a safe swallow. Think about it. If you were all slumped over and trying to learn how to eat something besides infant milk for the first time, you wouldn't be able to do it if you can't sit upright, right? And that sitting up, it doesn't happen for babies at 4 or 5 months of age. So one of the keys to reducing choking risk is making sure that you're really waiting until your baby is really ready to start. And for most babies, pro tip, they're not going to be sitting upright until they're 6 months plus 1 week, or 6 months plus 2 weeks, or sometimes even 6 months plus 3 weeks. Another key for reducing choking risk is to make sure your baby's feet are resting flat on a solid footrest. Feet resting flat stabilizes your baby and supports that core strength that in turn helps your baby facilitate a safe swallow. So this chair that I'm showing is called the Nomi high chair, and I love it for baby-led weaning because it has an adjustable footplate that does not require tools to change the height. So the Nomi chair grows with your baby from infancy through to adolescence. And while it's definitely an investment, I think it's worth investing in a safe seat for your baby to eat because, hey, they're gonna be there at least 3 times a day minimum for many years to come. If you want to check out the Nomi high chair, I do have a very good relationship with them and I have a way that I can help you get into this chair and I think you're really gonna like it. So check out the description below this video if you want to get yourself a Nomi high chair for your baby. But you do not need a fancy high chair to get flat feet. I get pictures all of the time like this from parents who are DIYing their old high chairs with things like yoga blocks affixed with bungee cords or Amazon boxes and packing tape, or this one, plywood and knots. Lots of ways that you can get those feet flat for a safe swallow for your baby. So last tip for those of you who are scared about choking is about the food size. Okay, for baby-led weaning, we cut the pieces of food about the size of your adult pinky finger and offer those to the baby. I know it feels safe to cut up the foods really tiny and small, but especially for early eaters, that's exactly what we don't want to do. Pieces of food that are really small are not safe, but pieces of food that are about the size of your adult pinky finger are perfect for your baby to pick up and self-feed because they're using their whole hand or their palmar grasp. And that's because babies, they don't have their pincer grasp early on in feeding, so they can't pick up really small pieces of food. And even if they could and they got the small pieces of food in their mouth, those really small sized foods, they are exactly the size of food that could potentially occlude your baby's airway. So there's a link below for a free workshop I teach called Baby-Led Weaning for Beginners, where I show you a ton more about making BLW foods safe in order to reduce choking. So that's your first surprising tip to not be scared. Your baby is not going to choke if you do baby-led weaning. But it's only if you wait until your baby's really ready to start, and again, that's at 6 months, plus when they're sitting on their own, and if their feet are resting flat on a solid foot plate, and if you cut and offer the foods in the right shape. Now, food allergies are certainly scary, but here's the surprising thing that most parents don't know about food allergies. The only thing you can do to reduce the risk of food allergy in your baby is to offer them the big 9 allergenic foods early and often. Now, what are the big 9 allergenic foods? Well, they are the 9 foods that account for about 90% of food allergy. And increasingly, research and updated guidelines are pointing to the benefits of early introduction of these foods to help babies prevent food allergy down the road. So the big 9 foods that you want to feed to your baby early and often are peanut, milk, egg, wheat, fish, tree nut, shellfish, soy, and sesame. So I know it feels scary to introduce these potentially allergenic foods, but doing so, it's really the only tool that we as parents have in order to reduce our baby's risk of food allergy down the road. And if your baby does react, a lot of times it's just going to be a skin reaction and not necessarily accompanied by any other symptoms or signs of allergy. And if it's not a sign of true food allergy, it might just be a rash that goes away on its own. But for babies who do develop food allergies, it's really important to get on board with a good pediatric allergist who's up on the most current research about how to introduce these other allergenic foods. Here's another surprising tip to help you overcome your fear of starting solid foods with baby-led weaning. Because with baby-led weaning, you're the one who holds the key to reducing the risk and the severity of your child's picky eating. Because all kiddos are going to go through some degree of food neophobia or picky eating, usually beginning in about the 2nd year of life. And if we look at most traditionally spoon-fed babies, they might only have 10 or 12 foods that they've tried before turning 1. And if you lose those 10 or 12 foods to picky eating, then that becomes a very challenging child to feed. But with baby-led weaning, there's almost an infinite number of foods that your baby can eat, right? In 2016, I created the 100 First Foods approach to baby-led weaning, where we get your baby to eat 100 different foods before turning 1. And if your baby can eat 100 foods, and then you lose 10 or 15 of those foods to picky eating, there's still 85 or 90 foods your baby will eat, so it's not a big deal. And if you're just starting out with baby-led weaning, be sure that you have a copy of my 100 First Foods list, because with this list, you're never going to run out of ideas about which new food to feed your baby next. And I give a copy of this 100 First Foods list away to everybody who's on my free online workshop called Baby-LED Weaning for Beginners. You can sign up at babyledweaning.co or click the link under this video. All right, some parents balk at baby-led weaning because they think it's going to be expensive. And I am not judging here, but I do think that excuse is kind of a cop-out, right? If you do traditional spoon feeding, the assumption is that most parents or caregivers today are going to be buying pouches. And if we look at the fact that pouches can cost anywhere from between $2 to $5 per pouch, and we know that some parents are going to buy 2 or 3 of these pouches a day, which can be up to $15 on the high end. Oh, and by the way, they're not even nutritionally complete as far as foods for your baby go. So I would argue that doing purees and pouches, that's actually the more expensive route. Because with baby-led weaning, your baby eats modified versions of the same foods that the rest of the family is eating. So there's no short order cooking. There's no buying silly or gimmicky, expensive baby foods. You're saving time, you're saving money, and it helps save your sanity if you're taking this approach. Okay, so we are myth busting some baby-led weaning fears left and right here. Your baby is not going to choke, as we've covered. You have to offer the allergenic foods in order to help reduce the risk of food allergy. And trying 100 foods with baby-led weaning is a great way to help reduce the severity of picky eating later in your baby's life. And oh, by the way, it also saves money. So here's a final tip for those of you who are still on the fence about baby-led weaning, and it's for parents who do not like cooking. Okay, you don't have to make 3 new foods every day for your baby to try. With my 5-step feeding framework, we introduce your baby to 5 new foods per week, 1 new food per day, and as you're doing a new food each day, you're also continuing to reintroduce familiar foods from the previous days. So you can essentially prep all 5 foods that you're doing this week, and you can do it really quickly for your baby all on one day of the week or the weekend. Just make extra portions of each new food that you're trying, and then you're gonna have plenty of leftovers to use over and over as you move forward each day with one new food on the subsequent days. So maybe you've heard it said that babies need to see a food 10 or 15 times before they like or accept it. We don't just offer broccoli one time and then your baby doesn't like it and you say like, oh, well, I guess it's settled and my baby's never gonna like broccoli. No, with some basic food prepping, you're gonna have all those future exposures prepared and your baby will start rolling through these foods. Do not be scared to start baby-led weaning. I always tell parents, you're gonna have to feed this small person for the next 17 and a half years of its life, so you might as well have some fun doing it. So follow along for more BLW tips, and again, that free online workshop, Baby-Led Weaning for Beginners, it's all linked up for you under the video with that 100 first foods list if you're ready to learn more.